Several years ago, I was part of a team of speakers at Harvard University, and we were speaking on the topic of community transformation. Well, the minute the event was announced, within a few days, I started getting calls from people who said, "Oh, I had no idea you did that." And they were accusing me of something that I had never done. And they began to read about things about me in the media. And so what we learned was once we announced the event at Harvard, gay and Muslim community came against us and said, "We don't want those bigots at our university." And so we were all taken aback by the spread of lies about us all over. They were trying to get us shut down at Harvard. The event went on. We had a great conference. Several weeks before the event, we sent intercessors ahead of time to pray over the meeting place, and it turned out to be a really great conference. We were picketed by about 50 protesters during the event, and some of the leaders of that protest actually tried to come into our coffee area, and they came down through the steps, and the minute they touched the floor, some of them screamed because they didn't understand what was going on. There was a power in the room, they said. That was amazing testimony. But anyway, the event went on, and at the end of the event, a couple of the leaders of the protests were in the coffee area, and we invited them in to talk to us and said, "Tell us why you're so upset with us." And so we went in, and there was about four of them, and we had a Harvard professor sit in on the meeting with us. And so we asked them what they was on their mind. And one of them accused me of supporting some legislation in Uganda that was anti-gay legislation. Well, I had been to Uganda before that legislation ever existed, but they read this story in their Harvard paper that was full of lies. And the man who did that was in the room that we were meeting at. And so I said, would you like to know the truth about that situation? And I told him I was not involved in that legislation, and I wouldn't have supported it if I knew about it. Anyway, he said, "Well, I've wrongfully judged you, haven't I?" I said, "Yes, you have." And so we politely asked them to tell us what was on their mind, and we didn't agree with them, but we didn't yell at them or do anything that was derogatory toward them. We simply stated what we believed and invited them to share what was on their heart. So anyway, by the end of the meeting, the Harvard professor said, "Gentlemen, I've been here all day at this conference, and they've said nothing negative about you, and we'd be glad to host any conference at Harvard University on this topic. You have wrongfully judged them." And so that was really amazing. We ended up the meeting very cordial. We had a picture made with both of our groups together. That night, we spent time with some of those leaders, and we built bridges. And so one of the greatest lessons I learned from that was to build bridges. You want to listen. You don't necessarily agree with the other person, but you listen and you don't get adversarial. And we need that in our country today, to be able to have honest dialogue about things that we may differ on. So I hope that helps you maybe in some situations that you might find yourself in the near future. God bless.